Have you played this week? And I don't mean your instrument. I mean, have you engaged your brain and body in something make-believe that maybe feels a little silly? Today, I'm speaking with a music educator who believes the play involved in teaching kids music is just as important for adults. And the more serious you are about learning music, maybe the more serious you need to be about your play. Welcome to Zeitgeist Radio. I'm Morgan Rowe, and today I'm speaking with a music educator who incorporates play into her teaching from ages 0 to older adults. My guest today is Danielle McNamera, a performer and music educator in Central Coast, California. Danielle, welcome to Zeitgeist Radio.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and it's fun that we're here in person. I don't get to record in person very often. This is fun. So, Danielle, who are you musically?
Okay, so this I think was actually the hardest question for me.
This is the easy one.
I know, right? I think I'm an amalgamation. I think the word I came up for myself was explorer.
Okay.
My dad loved classic rock. My mom loved pop. My best friend's mom introduced me to classical and musical theater. And I love it all. There's really not a lot that I don't like and that hasn't made up some part of me. So I guess I'm a musical explorer.
A musical explorer. Awesome. And then you do a lot as far as performing. And can you talk about what you do as far as your current musical participation, I guess?
Sure. It's less than it used to be, for sure. Being a business owner definitely takes more of my time than it used to.
Yeah.
But primarily I perform musical theater.
Yeah.
So pretty plugged into the theater scene here. I also perform with our local master chorale. And, you know, the occasional church gigs and wherever I can sing, I sing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Where did you first connect with early music learning or early childhood music learning?
You know, it was kind of by accident. When I graduated from college, I started teaching voice lessons, and majority of my students were in the afternoons, and I really wanted something to plug into my mornings. And I connected with this woman, Kitty Bailey, at a workshop, a vocal workshop, and we had lunch one day, and I said, you know, I'm thinking about doing something. And she said, oh, well, I teach this program called Music Together. You need to look at it. Come work for me. This is where you need to be. And it was just fate, I guess, because I went to the training and found my place. So
amazing.
Yeah, it was by accident, but you know, something led me there on purpose.
Amazing. So what was that first training like? And specifically, we're here to talk about play. So can you bring in, like, where did that come in?
Well, the training itself was really intimidating. I graduated as like a theater major with a music minor, so I thought I pretty well knew music. And it was a 3-day intensive. They started talking about just like throwing things at me that I'd never heard of before. But once we got into that, we really got to experience the play. So their philosophy is learn through play. And as soon as I got comfortable, I think, with the material, the play started to come through. And watching kids play and learn and explore is just amazing. And a little light bulb went off for me about how much better I felt after teaching these classes because I was able to start playing. And that light bulb really just kind of got me started on the journey of play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a daughter, she's 1, and watching her, it's like she plays, but it is like occupies her whole brain. So I think that's like, it's play, but like so important. So like, I just see watching her, it's so important.
Yeah. Play is serious business.
Play is serious business. I'm sure that you hear that all the time. Do you like continue like with training sessions, or like how do you like?
Yeah. So with this program, there's like one initial training that gets you started teaching.
Yeah.
And then there's just however often you want, you can go back and take that training again. There's we teach semesters, so every semester there's trainings on the new songs and music, and then there's usually a skills aspect of that where we take one thing and we deep dive and talk about it. So the training can be ongoing, and I choose to make it ongoing because there's always more to learn, and always, you know, things that fall out of your brain as you go that you need to learn again.
So how long did you work for the other person before branching out on your own? I know this wasn't in the question.
That's okay. Like 2 semesters.
Oh, and you were like, nope, this is it.
No, she was like, I don't like being a boss. Do you want to just start on your own? I was like,
oh, no. Okay. Yikes.
We're still friends to this day, and it was, I think, one of the best gifts I could have been given, for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it at the time.
Here's the in, now go. Wow. And then now you're just on your own, and you do have people in your studio.
We do.
How many?
So we've got 4 of us that teach this particular program, and we teach all over the county.
Nice.
Yeah.
And okay, you were a theater major, music minor. I had a music major, and so I imagine it was sort of the same with classical, like a lot of classical focus.
Yes.
Did you have to unlearn some things when you were thinking of teaching music this way, or maybe learn some things or unlearn some things? Because for classical, it can be very disciplined, and I feel like there's not so much an element of play. Like the practice of it can be very structured, and not that there's not play within structure, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think not so much as far as the discipline goes, because as funny as it sounds, right? The play requires discipline because you have to be on your toes and be ready. Actually, my theater training comes in handy a lot.
Sure.
But in regards to the way I sing in class, actually, because you're wanting to invite people in, you have to, I don't know a nice way to say it, but you have to dumb down your voice a little bit to invite people to sing with you and make it not a performance. So that was probably the biggest change. So not so much play. For me, play, I had some great teachers. I went to Cal Poly, and they incorporated play a little bit in their own lessons, right? To find certain sounds, we'd walk like a chicken, or, you know, do various noises. So play was always there a little bit for me. And I think my biggest light bulb was just accepting the silly and not being embarrassed to try.
I can see theater being helpful there. Didn't do theater. I haven't done theater in a long time, but it's definitely silliness welcome, at least back, back in the thespian days. So let's step into the classroom a little bit. I had a kinder music, someone involved with building kinder music on the podcast a little while ago, and she always talked about a prepared environment being really important. So can you describe, what does it look like in the classroom? What does your class look like?
It's different every time. We do have a format, right? So the format stays the same of our 45 minutes. We always have a hello song, a goodbye song. The structure of the class is the same. And I use the same plan for every class during the week. But the element of play is always different. It depends on the makeup of the class. So some classes, the kids really are into taking ownership of the song and having all the ideas. No, I want to sing about a bunny instead of a horse, or, let's sing about this and this and this. And so that element of play comes up a lot in certain classes. In other classes, it's more physical play. The kids want to get up and move. And so that's really keeps it interesting, right?
Yeah, it depends on who's in your class.
Exactly. So the play can look different from class to class to class, depending on the energy, sometimes the grown-ups' energy, right? Because they're not always willing to crawl around and act like kitty cats.
Rude. So the parents are in the classes with you?
They are, yes. They're parent participation classes.
And what ages are we talking here?
So our main class is from 0 to 5. We do have an older kids class from 5 to 8. And those are my choice to keep parent participation based. Mostly because we get more done. Classroom management with 5 to 8-year-olds is really tough. So the adults in the room help with that.
Nice.
But yeah, the core of what we do is 0 to 5.
Talk about 0. What?
Well, most of the time the zeros come in with older siblings,
Sure.
but sometimes we capture them really early. Our youngest was 2 or 3 days. Yeah. So things you're going to be seeing when they're that young is going to be more like cooing on tones related to the music, and less like physically being able to show beat or, sing words. But they will respond musically to what's going on. So if you kind of listen for those coos, you're going to hear them. If you know the terms like tonic and dominant, or the 1 and the 5, you're going to hear them mostly on those tones. And it's pretty special when you start to identify that. It's cool.
I'm getting jitters. That sounds so.
It's very cute.
Obviously, this is a podcast, so audio format, but like, can you describe, like, what does it look like? Like, what are some activities? Like, what types of play are we doing?
Oh, okay. So it's definitely, we have like the class structure, and then within that, there's room to be a little bit unstructured.
Yeah.
But so we sing, sometimes we'll just sit and we'll do like little hand movements. We dance. We have choreographed dances, lightly choreographed dances, and then just total free dances. And by choreographed, I mean like we'll walk to the left, we'll walk to the right, we'll go into the circle and come back up. We're not talking like full choreography.
Left and right sounds hard for a 2-year-old.
It definitely is. So the class is definitely for the grown-ups. So that our entire goal is to get them to be inspired to continue to make music at home and to give them ideas of how to make music at home. Because music making is not so much a part of our wider culture anymore. It's definitely feels like a select few and the rest of us kind of consume that music making. It's the goal is just to make music making accessible to anybody, whether or not you're musical or have musical training. So definitely the structure is for the grown-ups, and the kids join in as best they can. Most of the time for the dances, they like to be held anyway, because imagine you're a little 2-foot tall human being in a circle of dancing adults. That can feel intimidating. So a lot of times they ask to be picked up, and so they get to experience the movement without having to be able to do it themselves. But we play like with egg shakers. We've got rhythm sticks and scarves and all kinds of developmentally appropriate instruments, but still really fun.
So I'll share. I did kinder music growing up, and I remember a lot of the things you did.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, I remember dancing with scarves and the xylophones.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities actually.
I think so. Is it Montessori based ish?
So their base is on the Gordon music learning theory.
Okay.
And it's
What's that?
Well, let's see if I can distill it down. It's been a while since I read my book, but it's just really about how you learn music and the steps. So it's probably like more the ORF is a little bit more closely related. Yeah. They've got a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
From what I understand, I've never taken a kinder music class, but the Gordon music learning theory is about like breaking down tonalities and meters into like bite-sized chunks for the kids. So like we sing our song and then we'll maybe do like a tonal pattern, and then have them repeat it back to us. Or we'll do the song and then we'll break down a rhythm and have them repeat it back to us.
So like 2s and 3s and maybe 4s, or what are we?
So like if I was gonna do a song in major, and I just finish the song, then I'd go bum bum bum, then you'd repeat bum 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 bum. So we were kind of outlining the chord structure of a major tonality for them. And then if we're gonna do a song in duple, so like in 4/4, then I'd be like ba 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 ba, and then you'd repeat it.
Got it.
So it creates like more of a
call and response.
Exactly. Yeah, call and response in a bite-sized chunk for them to understand. Oh, that song we just did is like sounds like that, or so yeah, that's that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the real basic explanation of how kids learn music. So you present the whole thing, then you break it down into a bite-sized chunk.
I see. Okay, so the whole thing meaning the whole song, and then
Yes. Yeah.
and then that's how we learn music. Actually, that's how I practice. I guess that never went away. Interesting. And then, okay, so the other thing, and I'm just curious because I know a little bit more about kinder music because I took it and then had Jackie on. I'll put the link to that episode in as well, just if anyone wants to go listen. Sort of related. So she talked about movement being important too.
Yeah.
Is that the same?
Yeah. So movement is super important because it helps you feel the beat in your body. And so our musical goals are to help kids and adults achieve basic music competence.
Yeah.
Which is to sing on pitch and keep a steady beat in your body. I think that
You're
that
doing
started
every baseball game a big favor, or
Oh my
every
gosh.
concert at the park where they
Or
do the
every
national
wedding,
anthem, or
every
wedding, birthday songs. Yeah.
And I mean, being able to keep rhythm in your body is like even walking as you age, right? Being able to keep that rhythm in your body is helpful for keeping your balance, so
Yeah.
it's a lifelong skill in many ways.
I have always kind of wondered. I had my musical career is very strange, and for a while I was teaching, and I really got in with focusing on adults, and I feel very strongly that a lot of those things, like we talk about kids and the importance of early childhood music education, which I fully believe in, but I feel like a lot of these concepts you're talking, like adults can use those too.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's people, I absolutely worked with people who are like, oh, I'm tone deaf. Like, okay, well, there's an actual thing called tone deafness. Do you enjoy listening to music? Yes, then you're not tone deaf, right? So let's work on, it's just controlling the muscles, and maybe you haven't had the practice in doing it, but if you apply the practice, and I worked with a couple people and totally, like, not to where they're like amazing singers, but they were able to match a pitch, you know, and hold a note and sustain without, so I think a lot of these concepts apply to like people.
Oh my gosh.
Humans.
Yes. Yes. So once I started teaching these classes, actually, I feel like I revolutionized my voice teaching practice.
Sure.
Because we learned like, oh, you're probably not tone deaf. It's probably a coordination issue, or it's probably an audiation issue. So if you're not able to hear the music in your head, you're going to have trouble singing it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? So we do a lot of the same like little kid activities with the adults, but they work.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. I got excited about that because I felt like people were like, if you didn't get it when you were a kid, well, sucks to be you. Like, no,
I mean, it does, but
it does, but for different reasons.
exactly.
You're not beyond hope.
You're not beyond hope. Exactly.
Yeah. And I still have a good friend that we were, he's like, can you teach me drum? I'm like, I know nothing about drum, but what he was asking for was rhythm stuff. And I'm like, well, let's go back to some really basic stuff. And he still will call me and be like, that was the best. Like, I learned so much. I was able to, to play along, just like to beat along with his favorite tracks and stuff. Yeah. So what would some of those look like with your older students then? Like what types of things, or if someone is listening here and is like, well, I like to sing, but I don't feel like I'm that great. What are some things that they could incorporate in?
So I would always start with like a happy birthday, which is a surprisingly difficult song.
It is.
But everybody knows it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times if you have trouble keeping pitch, that big octave leap, happy birthday. I would start by singing it in your brain, right? Sing it 2 times in your brain, then sing it out loud. Does it match what you heard in your head? Sing it in your head again, and the more that you build that muscle of being able to hear it in your brain, the more accurately it's going to be able to come out. The other thing that I do is I do like some pitch matching games, because the other part of it is muscle coordination, is that maybe you can hear what the pitch is, but you don't know how to make your voice find it.
Yeah.
So we do like, I'll sing a note and then you'll slide around till you find it, right? And then you give me a thumbs up when you think you found it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it can be fun because you're sliding around being silly. And then, if you have a friend or a family member who can hold pitch, have them do that with you. And then go the other way around where you hold a note and they have to find you because it helps you feel, there's a certain like vibration when you're matching,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then you can feel, okay, you're locked in. So all of those things are really helpful and silly. And if you don't have a friend or family member that you feel comfortable with, do it with somebody on the radio, right? Like if they're holding out a note, try and find that note.
There's also tuner apps.
Oh yeah.
For your phone that's like for you just like a pitch pipe is an example. You don't get the feedback of like, is it right or is it not? But, but you can start to feel the vibration. And it's just so funny that we're talking about this, like our conversation went this way, because I'm remembering these things. And one particular person I was working with, he would be like, yeah, I found it. Because we were doing a very similar thing. He was like, yeah, I found it. And sometimes it was that pitch, but sometimes it was the dominant.
Yeah.
And that's so interesting to me that it was like, because you can feel that resonance in those related notes. And I forgot about that.
It's cool. I can nerd out about this stuff all day.
I get so excited about it.
But then I think that all relates to play too, right? Because
Totally.
you have to keep a playful attitude when you're learning a skill like this.
It's very vulnerable.
It's very vulnerable.
Your voice is like so personal.
It is.
It's your body.
Exactly. It's the only instrument really that is physically a part of you.
Yeah.
And it feels very different than like playing an external instrument where you make a mistake and it's like, oh, whoops, I mean, I know it's not like that instrumentalist, but it is. It's very personal.
It's like,
very
it's like
vulnerable.
a personal rejection of yourself. People can feel that way.
Yes.
Yeah. I find it's helpful and again, we'll turn it back around to you, I promise. But I remember like when I would have a new student come on who I could tell was kind of in that space, I always started with like the whole first lesson, I would book an hour and it would be, do you know how the voice works? Mm-hmm. And we talk about it for an hour and they'd be like, oh my God. And almost every time at the end of it, they would just feel this release, like, no wonder I have trouble doing this. It's hard. There's a lot of moving pieces. Yeah. There's so many. I mean, we'd sing too. It wasn't just like lecture time, but people, I think oversimplify everything that's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're teeny, 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 tiny little muscles. Ooh. And it's really one of the only instruments you cannot look at.
Yeah.
You can't see what's happening. It's all based on feel.
Yeah.
And I saw this really interesting study and I wish I could remember more of it, but like people who are really tuned into their voice actually have this amazing attunement to their own bodies in ways that like people who don't sing can't. Like they can feel teeny tiny muscles, and it was just,
that would be interesting.
It was so interesting and I wish I could find it again.
Yeah.
I got really excited in this conversation because I feel passionate about adult learning. I think people are funny about the plasticity and incredible neuron connections happening in kids. It's really, really true. But remember that kids are also connecting a lot of other things, like learning how to stack blocks, or saying their R's, or sharing. Adult brains already know a ton of stuff. We're not learning concurrently with gross motor skills, language, social skills, and everything else in this huge world that kids have to navigate, which means we can actually dedicate our brains pretty darn well to learning new skills, including music. I love learning from Danielle that play cements things into our brains better than non-play practice. By the way, if you or someone you know struggles with rhythm or pitch, I really recommend 2 workbooks made for beginners: Ear Without Fear for pitch, and Rhythm Without the Blues for rhythm, both by Constance Preston and Charlotte Hale. They are fantastic. If you're enjoying this conversation, but you also love reading, I send a newsletter after each conversation with my incredible guests. Go to zeitgeistacademy.com/radio to sign up. Now, back to Danielle.
I'm also interested in what you said about hearing it first and singing it in your head. My brain was laughing. Did you see that old show, The Music Man, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and that think method. Yes, a little bit.
It sounds a little con artist-y here, Danielle. So tell me about that. Tell me about how that works.
Sure. Well, so the skill, it's got a fancy name called audiation. and it's just to be able to hear the music in your brain. And I'm going to forget all the mechanics of it now that I'm
That's fine.
but it's essentially you have to be able to like hear it accurately in your brain for it to be able to come out accurately in your voice. There's that connection between your brain and your instrument. And so if that connection isn't there and isn't strong, you're probably not hearing it in your brain very clearly. So when you're audiating, and when you're thinking about the song, you're working on creating that connection.
Yeah, I have a really embarrassing story about this, which is fairly recently. I had a solo, and it ended with a very high note. And in my head, it was the chord structure was such that it was kind of like a spiritual, and it would have been very normal for it to end on the seventh, the minor seventh. It didn't, but I heard it in my head that way, so that's what I sang. No, it was just the tonic. I needed to just go up an entire step.
But there you go, right? Because what you were hearing in your brain is what you did. You had the right connection.
I heard it. I was singing exactly what I heard in my brain. It's so embarrassing.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm pretty sure we have all been there. Once or twice.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to kids. So as they're developing this, because again, this is really small little muscles, and they're really, really small little people. So how do you notice, or do you know with your studies of childhood development, like when is that functionality able to happen in the brain to where they can hear a pitch? That's very specific.
I can't remember the exact ages, but I can tell you like the progression.
Yeah.
So they're going to start with like the cooing, right?
Yeah.
On the either the tonic or the dominant. And then they're going to start trying to join in on the ends of phrases of the songs.
And
then,
my daughter's doing that right now.
right? It's so cool. And then they're going to start maybe trying to pick out like the important notes and being able to match that. I feel like in my experience, it's around like 2 or 3 when they've been coming to me for a few semesters, and it's like those skills are building, that I'm starting to hear at least relevant pitch where they can like sing a song, and it might not be the same key as me, but they're in tune with themselves. So
What a fun moment. Everything happens around 2. It's
a big age.
I'm looking ahead at it, and people are like, "Oh yeah, you're potty training, you're talking, you're like all these things, you're hearing songs."
Well, so in the first 5 years, I mean, you're literally creating millions of pathways each day, and the plasticity of the brain it's never that way again. You can always learn new skills.
Yes.
And it gets significantly harder as we age, and our brains are less malleable, and it's harder to create those pathways. So one nice thing about starting musically at a young age is if you do it from 0 to 5 and you don't touch it again for a while, the pathway's still there. And it might be a little overgrown, right? You haven't walked on that path in a while, but it's there. You can find it again more easily than creating it brand new as you get older.
So to reassure people who are feeling deflated now because you just said that they
Yes, please lift them back up.
yeah, let's go back to adults. Can you get some of those skills if you maybe didn't study music, because it's fairly culturally rare for I don't know, when I was one of 2 kids that had a music class in my class of like 30 when I was in kindergarten or 1st grade, right? So for those other ones, if they were in a musical environment, if they are they able to get some of those skills? Like, what is the correlation, and what can people do if they can't do lessons?
Absolutely. Just the more you use it, the better. It's even if you sing off key, it's better for you to sing than not sing. Those skills are absolutely achievable. They might take a little bit longer without some professional guidance, but we're in the world of YouTube too.
Yeah.
So with the voice specifically, things you want to watch for is if you're getting like a scratch, tickle, or cough way down deep in your throat. That's usually your voice telling you this doesn't feel good. So if you're feeling those things with like your YouTube teacher, just stop and take a break and come back to it later. But there's a lot of good information out there. There's a lot of maybe not as good information out there. So as long as you're watching out for yourself and seeing, does something not feel right? If you stop when it doesn't feel right, you're probably golden. You're not going to do any damage. Take the knowledge you can get. But yeah, things you can do on your own is just keep singing, keep trying, and the skill will come. It will. Well, I'll just say asterisk as a teacher, having a teacher is great. I just know it's not always accessible.
Yeah. Again, chill pill for adults here is, you just heard Danielle say 2 years, right? And then everyone's like, oh, the young brain is so amazing. And it is amazing. But it still takes 2 years before they can start to potentially sing a song on pitch, on rhythm, maybe on their own, maybe with a class. If an adult practiced every day for 15 minutes, I mean, let's be honest, how often do your students practice?
Oh gosh, it's such
Can
a
you
constant
picture?
battle.
Okay, let's go back. If you had a student who practiced 3 times a week, like actually practiced for 3 times a week for 15 minutes for 2 years.
Oh, the gains would be incredible. Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you start, it does feel far away, but time's going to pass whether you do it or not.
Yeah.
So you might as well take the time and gain the skill that you're wanting to gain.
And have fun with it.
And have fun with it. So there's something like, I'm going to misquote because I didn't look it up, but it takes like 20 to 30 repetitions to learn a skill without play. It takes like 1 or 2 to learn it with play. Those are probably not accurate numbers because I didn't look it up, but I remember it takes significantly more repetitions to learn something than it does to learn something with play. And that's for adults and kids.
Yeah.
Learning through play, it's
okay. Let's get existential for a second.
Yeah.
What is play?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, play is anything that really makes you feel good, I think. Yeah. Because play it's fun and it's lighthearted and it does serious work, but it shouldn't feel serious when you do it.
Yeah.
And so I mean it can be anything.
Because again, I watch my daughter, like she's learning to walk right now, and it's her favorite game. It's a game, but every time she does it, like, I mean, there's a lot happening, right? Yeah. It's serious. But it's so easy to like, and to me, like these milestones, you're a pediatrician, blah, 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 it's like it's easy to get kind of bogged down and like, these are serious. But then I watch her and her face is just lighting up like, I can do this crazy thing with my feet. And that's play. That's play to her. So now I'm thinking of like my own practice and, what if I just come at it with a different attitude? Would that count?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things to do when we're discovering your voice and all the different things it can do is I'll have you sing a song and then I'll give you different characters to sing as. So like, okay, this time try singing it like Dolly Parton, or this time try singing it like, you're an opera singer, and it feels really silly, but it does help you like explore your voice, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to find and unlock new colors and things that you wouldn't just by giving it a serious try, because by allowing yourself to play, you can be a little bit more vulnerable and try those things. And also, it just, play feels safer.
Yeah.
As well, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, because you're giving yourself the space the permission to be silly.
Exactly.
and there have to be boundaries around that. Oh, no, I'm playing. This is serious. I'm allowed to be silly here.
Yeah.
You're allowed to be silly anytime you like, but
No, I love it. And
okay, brain, you can think that way.
And it releases like dopamine for you too, and all of the feel good hormones. I mean, there's so many important aspects of play, and actually, they're even looking at play therapy to like recover from trauma. It's that play is that important.
Sure.
Right.
Do you think those, like the dopamine and those other hormones, are why you remember the thing? Like, does that help cement it in?
That's a really
curious
good question.
I'm wondering why it's like 1 or 2 times versus 20 or whatever those numbers are.
That very well could be. I honestly don't know.
Because there's that old adage, like people remember how you make them feel.
Yeah.
Maybe, and those are feelings. I don't know.
That could
Listeners, if anyone knows, let me know.
I also think like, right, you let go when you
Yeah.
play. And
Yeah.
sometimes when we're trying to learn something and we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves, that it can actually put up a block. And maybe that is the hormones, right? Because maybe like when we're stressed and we're releasing cortisol, I don't know. Does that block memory?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. Yeah. Listeners, earlier I lost my phone, and it was seriously lost, and it was right here. It was right here. Mom hormones and cortisol very much affect your memory. I really hope I get my brain back. People say I will get my brain back.
That's what I hear.
Oh, anyway, we kind of went on a long tangent. Thank you for that.
It was a fun tangent.
So if someone wants to start, you've mentioned some vocal things. What if they're not a singer? What are some things that someone can do at home if they want to start maybe getting better at rhythm or getting better at, a piano or something that's not singing necessarily?
Well, for rhythm, I would think it'd be kind of a similar thing, right? You can audiate the rhythm and then play it on your drums, your body, your piano. So it's going to be a lot of similar things. For piano, I think the ability to just play with it. Like you sit down and you do a measure at a time, but find a way to make it like silly or fun, or like give yourself a little rush, like, yeah, gold star, and like literally give yourself stickers. I have to say, in our studio we use stickers, and the adults get just as much of a rush from earning a sticker as the kids do. So, play.
I love that. So many of these episodes, people end up talking about perfectionism, probably because I bring it up, because it's something that I struggle with as well. But perfectionism, as soon as I bring it up, they're like, yes. It's something that I think a lot of people, there's partially because of what you said about YouTube, like there's so much out there that is like perfect.
Yeah.
Right? It's edited. It's, someone has been in the studio for maybe days, or if they haven't, their sound engineer has been, and then they release this track, and then you try to sing along, and you're like, why do I sound like crap? No, you don't. They don't even sound like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think part of it is just what's in front of us all the time, the curated, the Instagram feed type of phenomenon. But I think, this seems like a great way to kind of combat that a little bit if you're struggling with perfectionism, keeping you from your instrument or keeping you from starting to pick something back up, and you're like, oh, I used to be able to play Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata like nothing. Oh, now I can't even find the first three chords,
Yeah.
So do you think play has a part in that type of thing?
I think so. And I think play can be mindset too, right? And changing your mindset is really important for battling that perfectionism, because I don't know about for anybody else, but for me, when my perfectionism takes over, it's mean.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh my gosh, you're not, how can you have forgotten this? Or, you're so lazy that you haven't kept up with your practice, all the mean things. And so developing maybe more of a play mindset is like, oh my gosh, how silly. Let's try that again. Or,
Yeah.
just adopting a gentler mindset that can be play
Yeah.
as well. Or which came first? I don't know, the better mindset or the play. They go together.
They go together, yeah.
So-
Yeah. Because like you said, the loosening, perfectionism is very like stiff, right?
Yeah.
And then you're
Yeah.
like stuck. And then if you can loosen that up, makes it more enjoyable, and you're more likely to go do it again.
Exactly.
Which makes you better at
Exactly.
whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah. But that mindset, it is difficult to shift, but it is not impossible. So if you can find a playful way to talk to yourself,
Yeah.
you'll be more likely to come back to it.
What's a game that someone could do? Run around with scarves? Like what? what should someone do if
Oh my
they're
gosh, dancing with scarves is wonderful, right? You could like follow the line and make your scarf dance to the line of music, right? When it goes up, you go up. When the pitch goes down, you go down. the other, you could adopt like a silly persona that is your teacher for yourself, right? Who is going to scold the mean person, like, don't you talk about my Danielle that way, right? And just anything that can, the silly, I feel like it breaks the spell of the perfectionism. So dance with the scarf, adopt a silly persona to scold your mean self, or put on like if you want to like pretend like you're Mozart when you play, like put on a little like cape or like a little wig or something while you play. Just anything to help you find the joy and find the fun in it.
I love that. I love that. So we've gone and we've done a class now. We've had a wonderful class. What are your hopes for your students when they leave your class and then when they leave your program?
Well, of course, I want everybody to be musical, but my number one hope is that they will be joyful humans, and they will be able to tap into that joy more easily because they know what it's like to play. They know what it's like to be silly, and life is serious enough. Like, find the levity.
That's so nice. I really love that. And what are you personally doing right now to play and to practice? Like, what are you working on, and are you bringing in play into your own whatever it is?
I lost my play there for a little bit. Life was lifing. So for me, I'm learning to play again for myself and not just for the kids.
Yeah.
Right. To bring in my own joy into what I do. So I'm learning a new instrument. I picked up a banjo.
Yes.
Yes. So that's super fun. And then I'm just developing like my repertoire of songs that like I would have never thought fit my voice, but like who cares, right? And so finding the joy in that, I think, is musically where I'm at right now. Just exploring.
That's amazing. You're gonna do bluegrass?
I'm playing a little bit.
Nice. Yeah.
It's fun. I'm not very good, but it brings me joy.
Who cares? Oh, that's amazing. I want to get into the zeitgeist moments. So again, this is a moment where you're connecting with music and you connect to something that feels greater than yourself. And I'll share one with you. I mean, first of all, this has been really fun. And I got into my mode, which I always have to watch out, where I'm like, oh, you fired a neuron here. Let me share. So I recently was watching my friend's 2-year-old, and we went on a walk, and I think it was a garbage truck went by. So we were off on the side of the road, and we were watching the garbage truck go by, and she looked over at me, and she said something, right? And you're like, I don't know what that is, but then she said it like 3 more times. I'm like, well, you're really set on whatever it is you're trying to communicate with me. And then she goes like this, like rolling her hands around each other. And I was like, oh, that was kind of like a bus, right? The wheels on the bus. So we started singing the wheels on the bus. That was exactly what she wanted. And she was like swaying, wheels on the bus, wheels on the bus. And I hadn't sung that in a minute, like decades. I'm like, I remember the wipers, and I think the horn. And then I was like, I don't know, I know there's lots of other things on the bus. And she looks at me and she goes, woo on back. And I was like, oh yeah, the driver on the bus goes, move on back. But she was like singing it and doing all of these moves, and just like watching her, I felt kind of plugged in through her to this whole world of, like, she has this whole world. Like, I could see it in her, this all-consuming song and experience of the wheels on the bus, right? There was a real bus, quote-unquote bus, that went by, and then she's singing this entire song, and she knew all the movements, and, like, it was amazing just watching how big her world got in that moment. Like, she was completely consumed by this, and it was beautiful.
That's amazing. That's so sweet.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear from you. What's a moment that has been really like either a recent or a memorable moment where you connected to something bigger for music?
I can think of like a couple. I had this cool solo moment in our local pack, which is big, and it was so cool.
I want to hear about that. That's amazing.
It was really fun. I got to sing with an orchestra for the first time. It was very cool.
So cool.
But I think actually my most recent one was really special. My parents just had some medical stuff, and I was very fortunate that I was able to drop everything and go be with them for like a month.
Nice.
But we had this moment where we were in the car and I was driving, and Billy Joel's Piano Man came on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And love it or hate it, we all know it, and we can all sing along. And so I just kind of started singing along under my breath, and then pretty soon, my mom and my dad were both singing along too, and it was just three of us singing Piano Man, the top of our lungs guitar, and it was such a cool connective moment, right?
Yeah.
Because my family is music lovers. My brothers and I are all play instruments, but my parents are music lovers rather than music makers. Mm-hmm. And so hearing them singing in the car in their fun and slightly off-key ways, and it was just it felt very plugged in and like connected to something bigger. Mm-hmm. It was cool.
I love that. Danielle, thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Zeitgeist Radio, and thanks so much to Danielle for joining me. All of her links are in the episode description. Please check them out and go give her a follow. Please also subscribe to Zeitgeist Radio on your favorite podcast channel, and don't hesitate to reach out with a Zeitgeist moment of your own. I always love to hear from fellow music lovers. You can email me at info@zeitgeistacademy.com. I'm Morgan Rowe. Thanks for listening.